Hey, hey, hey.
Hello.
How's it going?
Great. I'm fixing my shirt.
We are so close to Christmas. We have the Christmas countdown going on at our house.
So do you know that today is, if you're listening to us right now, it is 2 weeks till Christmas.
Isn't this crazy?
This is nerve-wracking. Oh, we're going to have to podcast the week of Christmas. It will be interesting.
On Christmas Eve? No, we'll have to do the
we'll
day
have to do the day
before.
Yeah, because we're not home on Christmas Eve.
Where are you on Christmas Eve?
We go to my mother-in-law's.
Oh, that's right.
Christmas
You
Eve.
used to spend the night or something crazy.
Well, that was, okay, so before I had kids, we spent the night at my mother-in-law's on Christmas Eve. And then once we had Olivia, the first year she was with us, when she was like 6 months old, we said, nope, we're going to start our own traditions and we are going to stay at home. And so that worked fine. And we would literally wake up in the morning and go in our pajamas over there. And that lasted for about 5 years until we had the year of having to load the Barbie dream house into the back of Tom's truck because...
Wait, so you did Christmas morning there?
We would wake up here, have our own little Christmas morning, and then literally run over there. Like,
so why'd you take the Barbie dream house?
Because Olivia got
she
that
wanted
from
it,
Santa
so she wanted
and
to
was
take
devastated that she could not play with her toys. So that was the last year. I said, you know what? It's Christmas. My kids want to stay home. They want to play with their stuff. And we have now hosted Christmas Day every year. And everyone comes to us about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So everyone can have their mornings doing whatever. And it's so much nicer.
But Maria Michelle has Christmas Eve.
She has Christmas Eve, and it's wonderful. And she really does such a beautiful
she would do
job.
it up.
All her brothers and sisters come, and all of their kids. And it really, I do miss, she used to have a much larger house, and I do miss that because it was so perfect for all of us. It's a little more crammed now. But Christmas Eve is just always, she has to have it. Like, my kids love it. They get excited for it. And they get to see their cousins that they really don't see that often. So it's great. We love
the big Italian family Christmas.
It is a very big Italian family Christmas. Yes. We used
nice.
to do, we never did 7 fishes because that's like a Italian tradition. But we did used to do like linguine with clam sauce. We don't do that anymore. That was like a thing for a while, but not anymore. So yeah, what do you guys do for Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve, we go to church. So we work at the market.
Right.
And then we just go to church.
You just go to church after. Do you go to what, 4 o'clock mass or?
So the church has like noon, 4. They used to have like a 5:30 or a 6,
That
which I
seems
liked.
perfect,
and then you're done. But now it's not till like 8.
Oh, so do you go then?
So we're trying to decide which one we're going to go to.
Yeah.
And then they do an 11 o'clock because it like rings in at Christmas.
Right. So it's like,
we're definitely not doing that because we can't stay up for that. So we're not sure. We're uncertain what we're going to do.
so, you know, I have a question for
Yeah.
you. So I grew up Jewish. I spent my entire childhood with Jewish traditions and customs and religion. And then I spent my entire adulthood with a combo of that, but more Catholic traditions, customs, religion. Tom and I realized today that we have only ever been to a Catholic funeral or a Jewish funeral. We've only been to Catholic and Jewish funerals.
Yeah.
We had to go to a funeral today. A close family friend passed away. And so we went to the funeral and they're Catholic and we were talking about it afterwards. And we're like, I don't know, like, is it the same? Like, there's so many questions
So we call it calling hours. You guys call it the wake.
The wake. Yeah. Okay. So you don't call it a wake.
We don't call it a wake.
Okay.
And then we have a service and then there's a meal after. So you do typically have calling hours and then you'd have a service.
Are they the same day?
Usually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then you would have
Catholics
a meal
like to
afterwards.
drag it out.
Like the church usually provides a meal for the guests.
Interesting.
It would be provided by the church.
So, okay, so we do the wake usually for the day before.
Okay.
And then we have the funeral.
Calling hours could be the day before.
Okay.
It's whatever your like works best for your family. Sometimes they receive guests like the day before.
Okay.
And then right before the service.
Yeah.
So like, so people want to come to both.
You could do the wake or calling hours prior to the funeral. Like it is whatever works for you. And then we usually go, I guess you could have it at the church. We usually go to like a restaurant or something afterwards. But it is interesting. We were just like, I don't know. Like, so I noticed.
I'd never been to a Jewish funeral until your grandpa's.
Yeah. And then it was interesting. Like we noticed.
Your grandma's, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's grandma first.
We noticed like, so everyone goes up and takes communion at a Catholic church. Well, I don't go up because I'm not Catholic, but we were saying, I noticed that I think, and Tom did not know, but the person who passed away, we think maybe her side of the family is not Catholic. But I know that they're Christian. I just don't know like what exact denomination they are. But anyways, it was interesting because everyone went up to go make communion and like it was only half. I've never been to a funeral where only like half the people went up. So it was very interesting. I'm like, oh, I guess you don't do that at any other
So interestingly enough, like, so in my home church where I grew up, anybody could do communion.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were a born again believer, you believe that Jesus was born, died on the
Right.
cross for your sins, risen again.
So do you do
all
communion at your
welcome.
church now?
We just did it on Sunday.
Yeah. So you do it. So it's part of your service.
But not
though.
every Sunday.
Oh, you
it's
don't
usually
do it every
typical. It's
Sunday.
usually like once a quarter, and I think it like fell to be this. We're in our second week of Advent, so it falls then. So it's not every Sunday.
Okay, so Catholic you do every time.
Yeah,
like
that's
every
why
service.
the services are so long.
How long are your services?
We're in and out in an hour.
Well, I think ours are about an hour.
Okay.
Catholics. Well, I shouldn't say ours because I'm not Catholic, but Catholic services usually.
So you'd be welcome. Anybody is welcome to come to the table
Right.
to break bread. That's what they always say.
Okay, so
And we do juice, not wine.
what's interesting is some Catholic
Unleavened
churches.
bread.
Okay, yeah. So some Catholic churches will say if you are not Catholic, you are still welcome to come, and we, you would
Welcome
receive
you.
a prayer, right? So I have gone up in that circumstance, but others don't say, like the one we were at today. And I know our church here does not. You just don't go up if you're, which I do hate, to be honest. It's like so awkward. I feel like people are like, why isn't she going up? Like,
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of weird, but whatever. I'm not going to go up. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just we were just talking about it. Like, it was a really long drive to the cemetery from the church. So we were just chatting about all these things that we noticed. And I was like, I'm going to ask Kristin about this.
Yeah.
Like, so we didn't know if you do communion.
We have special music usually. Like, so when my grandpa passed away, Bill always says, I want to replicate this funeral as mine. Like
That was your grandpa.
So my grandpa picked his music. Like he picked all the different things. And so it can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
So if you wanted communion, you could do that. Some people have sermons. Some people just have, like some people pass around a microphone.
Yeah, I guess it's similar.
It's very
in that
different. It's
sense.
whatever you
Like,
want it to be.
They have like readings, but then they also, like if you had someone that wanted to come up and speak, they could. So yeah, I guess that part's similar. I don't know. We were just discussing like the different parts of it and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. But we went out to the cemetery and they have a shared tombstone for both of them, but his sister passed away. So it's our family friend who's Tom's old boss, actually, who he bought his business from, and his wife has passed away, but his sister passed away a couple years ago, and she was single and didn't have much family, so they bought
going to be buried there.
They bought a plot all together, so she is already buried there, but the tombstone has all three of their names on
already.
it. Yes.
Just like they put the birth
With
date,
the birth
but not
date.
the end
Correct.
date.
So Corrine passed away this week, and so her birth date is there, and they will go in this week or in the next in the future, the near future, and fill that in. But I was thinking that like that's always a little unnerving to me. Like
That's strange.
seeing
Yeah,
your
that's a little
name on
weird.
tombstone, right? Like
Yeah.
that has to be a little odd. Like I can appreciate the reasoning behind it and understand it, but I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very different.
Yeah. So everybody has like different traditions and customs, but it was a beautiful service today. And then we had
Well, in the
lunch
Jewish tradition, we just talked about this. We won't go into details, but when you
got more
are,
to tell you on
when
that.
you pass away and you're Jewish, the headstone is not placed until 1 year after.
Correct. So it is 1 year after you have a stone setting, and it's actually a really
And
nice.
I learned this from Danna, not from Miriam.
Yes.
On Instagram.
Which honestly, I'm sure that, my family, to be very clear, growing up, there's three like levels, I guess you would say, of Judaism. And like there's Reform, there is conservative, and then there's Orthodox Jewish. And Miriam was Orthodox Jewish, and I grew up in a very Reform household, like very, very, very. We were, I think Bill would refer to it as Jew-lite, but
Right.
we were just not very religious growing up, but to an extent we were with some things, but for the most part not. So I don't know if our traditions and customs would be comparable to what like someone that like Miriam, who is our friend that we follow on TikTok.
Hi, Miriam. She's not really our friend.
She's not our friend. We don't know her, but we think she's great. So anyway, she is Orthodox Jewish. So anyways, a year after someone passes away, you have a stone setting. And it's very nice because it's a great way to like kind of come back together, remember them. It's
I like
very
that.
minimal. It's a very short little service right at the cemetery where the stone is placed. The stone will go in usually, a few weeks to a month or so beforehand. It's covered with, it really is, I think, just cheesecloth material. Like a netting.
And when you say covered, the whole stone.
The whole stone is covered. I can show you a picture like my mom sent, because we just had an issue where my grandma's is there. It's been placed, but we haven't had the stone
service.
setting because when my grandfather passed away so quickly after, we decided we would do them both together, which is like, you
Makes
can
sense.
kind of just, you can be, so that's what it looks like. So
Yeah.
I don't think you guys will be able to see that, but basically it's
Well,
a
we could
tombstone that you
share a
can't
picture
see
on
anything.
Insta.
Yeah. So you can't see anything on it. But recently my mom went the other day to go to the cemetery and to visit my grandma, and it was not covered. But the stone had been placed. So it was the first time we had gotten to see the stone. So, my mom sent a picture to all of us, and we were like, wait a second, why isn't it covered? And here it had just been probably something as simple as the
blown away.
I mean, we had a huge storm with like 50-mile-an-hour winds last week.
Here's a question. Are you buried in a Jewish cemetery?
You are. So
It's a special cemetery.
Yeah, it's a specific to Jewish cemetery. So, which is interesting also because like where we went today, All Souls is primarily a Catholic cemetery. I don't know if you wanted to be buried. If you were not that religion, I don't know that they would turn you away. Mm-hmm. But it is usually, Jews are married with Jews or are buried with Jews, Catholics with Catholics and so on and so forth. But yes, so Jewish cemeteries are, I think, a little more specific because they have so many like laws and rules, to their
that makes
religion.
Sense,
yeah, totally.
As a kid, I can remember going, this is a very dark subject.
It is, but it's kind of interesting, to hear about
me.
different like customs and
Memorial
like
Day,
traditions.
Labor Day, like all the holidays. My grandparents would take me. I was the oldest grandchild, so I'm sure that's why kind of it happened. But to all the different cemeteries, and we'd always put like the wreath and all the things. But it was really important to me to know where my family was buried because, genealogy is kind of fun to me, but to know where they are. Like we have some family that are buried in Reynoldsburg. And then most people are buried at like the Betzer Cemetery, which is in Carroll. And then we have like where our plots and my grandma's, like all of our other family is buried at a different place. So it's kind of important.
I think it's, well,
so think about it. If you don't know where your family's buried, you need to know.
So this happened actually. So my grandmother passed, my dad's mom passed before I was born. She passed incredibly young. She was like 40 years old, 48, very, very young. And she was buried in a cemetery that at the time was a very prominently Jewish area where the cemetery is. And over time, the area has become a bit run down and it's not really a nice area anymore. And, unfortunately, when someone passes away 40 years ago, you don't get as many visitors to the cemetery. My dad goes on his yearly visit to see his mom, right? You know what I mean? But like, who else is really going? So when her son, my dad's brother, was sick years later, he's been gone 10 years now, but when he knew he was going to pass away, and he told me, I handled everything. I did all of his caretaking, and I handled all of his arrangements and everything when he did pass. And he said to me before he passed away, he said, don't put me where my mother is because it's in the ghetto. That's what he told me. He said, I don't like it there.
Find me a better spot.
Find me a better spot. And he knew where he wanted to go. He told me the cemetery he wanted to go to, which was only funny because it's very close to our house, but it was not close to anyone else. We're like, why? And it's ironically a Russian Jewish cemetery primarily, which we are not Russian. I was like, I don't know. He liked that cemetery. So anyways, he's buried there.
Weird question. Yeah. Are Jewish people sometimes cremated or
no,
not
never.
cremated?
So the reason that we're not cremated is the same reason that you're not supposed to have a tattoo, but I do. Your body should not be changed from the way that you came onto this earth to the way that you leave. So you would never be cremated. And actually in traditional Jewish tradition, which you can't do this because it's illegal, but
you shouldn't be embalmed.
You really should not be embalmed, right? Like, so in, the early biblical days, Jews would not be embalmed because you are becoming one with the earth again. Yeah. And so that's putting chemicals into your body. And so you would not do that. But now it's obviously they have to embalm you. But we do, if you ever hear of a Jewish person passing away, funerals are very quick after. Like a person will die and the funeral is like the day or the following day after. Like it's very, very quick. And it's kind of tradition because of that reason. Like you would not embalm.
Get them in the ground.
Correct. You would get them in the ground. So no, we do not cremate. But this is interesting. So my dad has another brother who does not live in town, and he did not want to have to go to two cemeteries when he came to visit. And my grandpa's actually buried at another cemetery. And so they moved my grandmother's grave.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so about 4 years ago, we moved my grandmother's grave to be with her son, which I did not love the thought of, my personal opinion on it. But,
I think it happens more than you think.
I think so too, actually, because it was this is how it's done. Like
very expensive.
Yeah. Very expensive. So he chose to pay for that. We said we didn't want to pay for it, but he chose to, and we were fine with that. My grandpa is buried at another Jewish cemetery where all of my grandparents are in one cemetery. And I love this because he's in the whole veterans. He's a veteran. And so he's in the veterans area, and they have, the specific area. And it's all well taken care of, the cemetery he's at. But I do feel like that area is just like
a little better.
It is.
That's nice. It should be.
Is. I think it should be too. It's just a beautiful area. And so he remarried because my grandmother passed so young. And so now my step grandma, who was always my grandma, passed, and they are buried together there. So
nice.
Yeah, it's great. I love where they are. So, but like, I don't know where I want to go.
Well, I mean,
I'm not married
to
a Jewish guy. So like, where the heck am I going to go?
I'm assuming I'll be buried here in Chesterland. However, my grandma is such a planner that both of my grandparents bought like all these plots, which cemetery plots are expensive.
Very expensive.
Which you can resell. But like my grandma, when she passed away, she's like, we have 12 cemetery spots.
Oh my.
In one spot.
She's having a party.
She's like, this is where everybody's going to be buried. So they were kind of like delving out the spots, and my cousin's like, yeah, I don't really want to be buried there.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be buried with my wife and like all these different things. And so, I mean, it's very interesting how it's all going to play out. So
that is
apparently all my siblings are all going to be buried there together.
So this is funny. My grandparents passed in the last, 2 years, whatnot. So they had already purchased their plots, like, same thing years ago. But my grandma's sister, my Aunt Kook, she got divorced very young and never remarried. And she's never really dated anyone.
She's so independent.
She's very independent.
She's so cute too.
She's adorable. But that is something to like think about, So when they bought the plot, they bought her a plot as well. And so when they were lowering my grandma into the ground, my aunt is literally like double checking. She's like,
is there room for me?
She's literally, they were lowering my grandpa in. That's what it was. My grandma was already placed. And she started panicking because she's like, wait, where's mine? I want to make sure that I'm not on his side. I want to be next to my sister, not to my brother-in-law. She was so worried. And she'll be next to my grandma when she goes. But it was very funny. Like, unfortunately, you just kind of have to make light of situations like that.
So I can remember my Sunday school teacher, Bob Danna, who is no longer with us. He's been gone for a long time, but his wife Patsy is still around, and she was like 10 years younger than all the others. So my grandma's the last in the 90s, and Patsy's in her 80s because she's like the young chick. Yeah. And he would always say that someday you're going to go to a funeral and you're going to love it because it's like seeing all your friends.
It's like a high school reunion at that age.
And you're going to be so glad because it's like a happy thing, like rejoicing, like your friend's going home. But I'm like, no one's going to be left for my grandma or Patsy.
So I think that probably is hard when you are one of the oldest. So we were discussing this today also because there's a group of the gentleman whose wife passed. There's a group of their friends, and like this one's wife passed, and this one's husband's passed, and this one. So there's multiple widows and widowers,
young.
But they are. I mean, they're in their. He's early 80s.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
she was in her 70s.
She was late 70s. Yeah, she was 78. She got sick and passed very, very quickly. So, but
really, that's how I'd want to go.
I said the same thing. Like she tried
that
chemo
is how I
one time, got super sick from it, and that was
I wish she wouldn't have tried it.
So do I, because you know what? Don't you just wonder, like. We were talking about this at dinner the other night. With
maybe she would have lived longer.
Right. And
but you don't know, so you can't say.
You don't, but like, who knows how long she even had cancer for? Like, so there's all this like speculation, like, what if you did nothing? Would you at least enjoy what you have left? So I don't know, there's weird things. But we were saying today how like, oh, this is like what's left of the group. And like, oh, but this one got to go home and be with so there is this like, I don't know. They're together again. Yeah. I mean, it's still, of course, devastating and sad, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I think you have to kind of view things that way, or else it'll just be. I had to. So this is kind of such a morbid topic today, but
this is horrible. We're almost done with the whole podcast. I know. We got to talk about anything.
We might have to go a little longer today. Really quick, I had to call the coroner this week because I am in leadership Giaga, and I am in charge of government day. And for my government day, I was in charge of contacting the coroner, but I was given strict instructions to ask him to tone down his presentation. Oh. Because last year it got so inappropriate and morbid that people were like, well, it's in our county, so people knew he was using names. Oh. He was using...
Is he allowed to do that?
I don't know, like, what they said that he was, like talking about like a car accident, and everyone was like, oh, we knew about that car. You know what I mean? So it was like hitting a little too close to home. And so I had to have like an uncomfortable, yes.
Did you say, I know a girl who maybe wants to be a coroner? Because Campbell
is that
still
new?
Thinks that, no, she's always thought this, that, she does dead very well. And so she's like, maybe I want to be a coroner.
So I handle death very, very well. I don't like what a coroner would have to do.
Oh yeah. See, I think that'd be interesting.
I don't even like when my kid
Let me
loses
crack
a tooth.
the chest.
I don't even like when my kids lose a tooth.
Oh yeah. See, that's we like all this. So I had so many good things. Happy birthday to Jack. Jack got his driver's license.
Gosh,
so that's exciting. He's driving around. So watch out, Chesterland. Be careful. We have another kid on the road though.
I'm sure he's
3 of our
great.
4 driving. They graduated to be drivers. This is crazy.
That's crazy. And you're like 6 months away from the next getting his temp.
Temps. I know.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's wild.
Crazy.
But I don't even remember. We were going to go over our list of favorite things.
Gosh.
We have to do this because Christmas is coming.
Wait, did we really spend 20 minutes talking about death?
Yes. I feel like you led the way.
Sorry. My bad. All right. We're just going to go longer today. That's all.
I was going to tell you about how I got in my car because sometimes like I don't wear clothes when I sleep. And Parker needed to go hunting. And my husband, as great as he is, was going to take him. They have this whole plan and he just kept sleeping. And when I woke up, because Parker's like, Mom, I gotta go hunting. Bill's like, I'm like, well, he's not getting up. So I threw on my bathrobe and then I pulled on my snow boots and I just got in the car and took him. And I had my cup of coffee. I made a cup of coffee. I'm like, whoa.
And there was nothing under your bathrobe.
No. I'm like, if I get pulled over by the police, this could be really bad. I'll for sure end up in the town blotter.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh.
Woman with no identity driving in her bathrobe and her snow boots, sipping coffee.
That would be good for business. It might get people into the
I said, all I have to do is like give him a flash and maybe he'll let me off.
Or that'll cause the ticket.
Anyways, all right. So we are going to give our top 12 gifts from Danna and Kristin. Our favorite
might be 11
things.
because I only have 5 right now, but I might think of one more.
So, but we wanted to come up with some good gift ideas that you could still get if you needed to for the person that has it all.
Oh, well, 2 of mine are not gift ideas, really. They're just things I like.
Oh, that's okay. But you could give it as a gift, right? Yeah. Danna, the whole reason we're doing this is for gifting.
I missed the point.
Okay, so we just had a party with friends and we brought our favorite things.
I do have something actually.
And so the gift that I gave, I really...
Wait, time out. And I know we're way over on time, but this party, if you want to do a fun party with friends, this was a great idea.
It's better than a cookie exchange.
We've always done a cookie exchange. We switched it up this year. Everyone brought 3 of their same favorite item. So I have a candle, for example, that I brought, and I brought 3 of them. Fritz and Fern. And so we drew numbers when we got in there, 1 through 10, 10 through 1. And then basically 1 through 10 again, for lack of a better way of explaining it. And you got to choose what gifts you wanted to take home. So you brought 3 gifts and you left with 3
different gifts.
Yes. It was so cute. We brought great stuff home. Everyone participated beautifully. Like, it was just a great little fun girls' night if you want. And you don't have to do it at Christmas. It would just be something to do regularly, but super fun at Christmas. Okay. You go first with yours.
So my first item is the gift that I took. Actually, I have 2, so I'll just do them together. I took 2 gifts. I was unaware of the price limit. And then I thought I was under, so I really was over.
It was a $20 price limit.
So I thought it was $50.
So we did say that next year we would prefer to go higher.
I do. I feel like you can get a better quality thing. Anyway, so I am obsessed with Essence Maker. She makes all natural body products and skincare here in Chesterland. And I kind of, before I moved here, I found her on Instagram. I didn't really know anything else about her, but I love the body scrub. So check out her website, check her out on Instagram. If you're local, she's having an open house the next 2 Saturdays.
Which now I can go.
You can go to the open house. I cannot go because I'll be at a bull riding rodeo. But anyways, the body scrub, I love. It is just so rich, but I also love her face oil. I'm really obsessed with that. I probably could not live without either thing. But I also gave as a gift my homemade vanilla. So a really fun.
It was a huge hit.
My gifts were the first 3 to be gone.
Oh, and that's another thing is hostess did not do this, but you should do this, is the first person whose all 3 gifts
gets
are
the prize.
Gets the prize.
So I said she could like owe me a prize later. And she said,
one.
Tough luck. She said no. But anyway, so I gave a little bottle of Tito's vodka and the vanilla beans in the vodka. So in 1 year's time, they will have their homemade vodka or homemade vanilla to make cookies and bake with. So that was my first 2, actually. Mm-hmm. Do you want to give 2?
Sure. So my first one is Crate & Barrel makes wine markers that you, on your wine glass, you can write someone's name on a wine glass. I did actually see a copy of them on Amazon today. They may be good. I don't know. I've not used them, but I have the Crate & Barrel ones that I absolutely love. They make a great little gift, and they're perfect for when you're entertaining. I actually wish that I would have used that for my favorite thing to bring.
That would have been good.
Yeah. So it's great though, and they wash right off with soap and water, but it's a great way. It's similar, think of like a wine charm, but you can just write your name on it.
I like it better. You could use it for kids' cups too.
Yep, I like it way better. I think it's fantastic. I've had mine for years and they have lasted forever, so I'm a huge fan of those. I am going to use my thing that I brought, which was Fritz and Fern candles. Honestly, we sell them at the market, but you can get them on. Can you get them on her
So
website?
she does not sell them online. We're the only place you can get them online.
I like that.
You have to visit one of the retailers.
I like that.
So if you're local to the Columbus area, Georgie Emerson sells them.
That's right.
She actually sells them all around the country. So, but
They are.
It's a
They're
great
some of
story.
the most beautifully burning candles.
We should have her as a guest. That'd be another great guest.
She's super sweet. She's just a really down to earth person. You know, you're supporting small, and honestly, they burn beautifully. The scents are fantastic. Smell good. Yeah. Okay, so those are my top two. Go for it.
Okay, my next one is Philosophy Face Scrub. So I'm a huge fan. My friend, who's actually a physician, she recommended this. It is in a pump bottle. You can buy it on Amazon. You can also get it at Sephora, wherever Philosophy is sold. It is not very expensive, and it is like you get a facial every time you use it. I personally use it twice or 3 times a week. I gave it to a friend. She says she's using it every day and she loves it. That would probably dry me out too much, but that is amazing. And if you know me well, you know me that I love oils and I really like doTERRA. I could probably use so much tea tree oil, which is also Melaleuca. I use it for everything. Everything. To heal anything. It works. I mean, it's great.
It's weird.
I love it. You know it works.
It's weird how much she uses.
I do. I use it every morning. Every time I get out of the shower, I use it. So those are my next two. Okay. Share yours.
My next two would be Smallwoods. So I love, I've only had a couple, but I've given them as gifts. They're beautifully, you can just upload your photo right to the Smallwoods website. And they print them out on like almost like a beautiful canvas with their, have great wood framing on them. You can choose the color. Normally they ship fast. Kristin's having a little bit of a
I ordered mine way before her and I still don't have mine.
Kristin's did not.
The
but
post
I do
office
love them.
just doesn't like me.
They make an absolutely amazing gift. Like
it is great.
Had professional
and
pictures
it's
taken.
reasonable.
It's very reasonable. I mean, you can easily do a beautiful portrait for like less than $100. Well, less than $100.
And if you're into buying multiples, then you get even deeper discount.
Yeah, the more you buy, the cheaper it is. So I'm a big fan.
And they always have a big sale right before Christmas.
Yes. So I really like Smallwoods. My second one would be, I'm going to say it wrong. I don't really know how to say it, if it's Riedel or Riedel wine glasses. So it's very funny.
This is high end.
This is a high end wine glass. I used to be the person that said it does not matter what you drink your wine out of. And I actually disagree with this now.
It's true.
I have some. I don't use them often. I
Kristin
had a whole
broke them
set.
all.
Kristin broke a few. Tom broke a few. Someone else broke a few.
I broke one actually.
So they've been broken. I do still have some, but they don't come out very often. We have Costco ones for day to day around here. But they are, I will say, we were at a friend's for this party the other night. I took one of hers out and I had a glass of wine out of it and I did forget how nice
it does elevate your drink.
It really does. It's really
I don't
nice.
know what it is. It's so ridiculous.
It is.
But it does make your glass taste better.
It's very thin glass.
Yeah.
I will
you can
say,
see the legs run down.
You totally can. I will say they are a bit pricey, but I would say that they're well worth it.
If you're looking for a good gift,
yes,
that's a very generous one. Kristin drinks out of her Kool-Aid cup still.
She does. Actually.
That's what I am qualified to drink out of.
That's what we've had to resort her to.
Oh.
All right. What else you got?
Okay. So my final two, and I don't know how you actually say this, but this is a spice for all of you that cook, but Tony Chakeres or Chakeres, the Creole spice.
Is that the Tonys?
Yeah,
like
Tonys. We always say Tonys.
Okay.
We just call it Tonys. I don't know how you say it. You can find it in the spice section. It is so good on everything, but really good on eggs. I love it. It is such a good spice to add, just any good flavor. It kind of replaces your salt. Love it. And then my last one is duck feet. I wear them every day. Like really, I wear them every day. Even in the summer, I wear my fleece lined. I love the shoes. And every time I get comments, Danna always says this because they think they're weird. Everybody always asks what my shoes are.
They're confused.
And I love them. And they're comfortable for me. They are a European shoe. I love them. Campbell says they're not comfortable. I think they're the most comfortable daily wear shoe.
They're probably more comfortable for you than her because they do probably mold to your feet.
They form to your foot. It's a leather shoe that is just very durable and it supports my lifestyle. They are interesting,
and I would recommend, I had never heard of them before, Kristin. I would recommend Googling them just to kind of see them so you know what we're talking about. It's an interesting look. But if you can pull it off, good for you.
Yes.
All right. So my my one last one is, and I think I may have said this before, I love Gooders. Like I love Gooder sunglasses. Right now they're having 20% off. They're a very inexpensive sunglasses brand. They were originally made for runners because they're like lightweight and they don't like fall off your face when you're outside and running around. They have now expanded into ski goggles, which I am obsessed with them. I hate skiing. I don't like anything about skiing.
She likes the lodge and the shopping.
I like the lodge. I like
spa.
I look adorable. I like all the things. I like going up the hill. I don't like coming down the hill. But I do have a great pair of goggles. And Olivia actually just asked for a pair of those. And she's got like expensive goggles. And she has been using mine all of last year because she liked them better. Well, I just bought her a pair because they have 20% off right now. So they ended up coming. And if you like do their text thread, you get, I think she just walked in and I just said that.
That's okay. She didn't hear you.
She didn't hear. And you get like $5 off text alerts or whatever. So I did that. They came to $55. Like for a good pair, like that's great. And then my last one is a combo. My one thing is Casely cell phone cases. They always have good deals. Liv really loves them. They're super cute for a teen. Big fan of those. And then I have one more that I'm going to give a shout out to, and I have not received this product yet. So I am not 100%, but their customer service has been phenomenal. These are called, hold on, I lost the name, Cuddle Clones. And I'm sure you've seen them all over Instagram where you can get your dog printed all over things. And so we got my father-in-law a pair of pajama pants with his two dogs printed all over them. He's weird and he'll love them. We know he will. But I messed up, and when I sent the picture over, and it's an Akron-based company, and they like reached out to me, worked me through the whole thing, ended up having to like do a refund, and then we reprocessed it was a whole thing. They were so great to work with. Like it was actually working with what's the best part of small business is you're working with an actual person. But yeah, so I will keep you updated. They're coming this week.
I can't wait to see these.
But yes, so Cuddle Clones if you want to like print your dog's face all over something. And that's all my things. So
I really do like the clutch charger too. I'm adding that. It's a very thin,
that's a good
short cord charger.
Yes.
That's a great one. I also really like Frownies. Look them up. They're another Ohio-based company, but they will keep your lines and wrinkles. They'll keep you looking fresh. I don't love them. I'm actually going to sleep in mine tonight because I need to kind of look young for the next couple days because I'm going to see people. So I want to get rid of my lines. I'm going to wear my Frownies. And so all of you listening, you're going to know that when my line is gone, it's because of my Frownies.
She's ridiculous, isn't she?
Okay, we got to go.
I know.
This is the world's longest podcast. And we also hit 10,000 downloads, whatever that means.
We don't know what it means, but I got an alert from that we got 10,000 downloads.
Until next time, friends, we're Miss Matt.